Yo, appreciate your time and just know that I'm SK Crypto K, and today you should join my crypto club. Maybe by the end earn some dividends, so in advance I'ma thank you right now for that sub. Hey! Yo, let's go.
Hey everybody, welcome to the hot seat. Today we had a Q&A, a chit chat about elephant money. And we have a very, very special guest, the YouTuber and elephant money enthusiast, SK Crypto K. It's nice having you here, buddy. And I want to start off as usual in here with a very difficult question in the beginning with a would you rather question. Are you ready?
Would I rather? Okay, let's go.
Okay. So, would you rather have skin that changes color based on your emotions or tattoos that appear all over your body depicting what you did yesterday?
Oh gosh, I think I'd rather have the color changing skin.
Fair enough, fair enough. Alrighty, this was just to get to warm you up, guys, and I will pass the microphone on to Matt Header, and have fun, guys.
SK, my man, how are you?
Brother, I'm doing good today. How are you?
I'm very good. I am very good indeed. I'm looking forward to this one. I'm looking forward to a bit of a back and forth with you. What?
Yeah, certainly. And I forget, is this being recorded?
Yes, it is.
Awesome. Let's do it.
People will be able to listen to it afterwards. Okay, so let's start with, for those that don't know, can you just kind of give a tiny background on what elephant money is and how you came to find elephant money and your process into becoming somebody who speaks kind of on behalf of the protocol?
Yeah, absolutely. Where to even begin with that? So Elephant Money in and of itself is aiming to be the best community bank in DeFi. Right now, you're pretty much at the ground floor of where you can store your assets, and you're going to have a high appreciating risky asset, which is the Elephant token. You're also going to have your banking side of it with the Trunk token, where you can stake it. You can bond it in a certificate of deposit for something called the Stampede. If you're familiar with Drip, it looks a lot like that. And then thirdly, there's going to be some farms coming out that we could talk about too. How I got involved is, so I've jumped into crypto in January of 2021. Really, I'm just getting sick of the rat race and reporting to, retarded leadership that make terrible decisions. So I wanted to get out of that. And one of my friends, Airfire, so him and I have been content creators for years together, and he pointed me in the direction of Bankroll Float. And when I learned about it, it just really, blew my mind. It was made by Bank Teller. It was the first, 1% a day ROI DApp of its kind. And even though it had some flaws, it spawned the Drip revolution. If anyone's familiar with Drip, that is a Bankroll Flow fork where they changed like 1 or 2% of some of the mechanics, and now Drip is a monster. The godfather of Drip is Bank Teller. And so I've always been a fan of his work. I saw that potential with Flow. I love Drip because of that. And when he moved into BSC, he created the Elephant ecosystem. And I've just been making content about it ever since. And then one of my videos caught his attention and he reached out. And so probably since about August or September of last year, I've had direct access to him to ask questions and really just, help explain things for the people.
Okay, great. Good stuff. So if we jump straight into the nitty gritty of Elephant Money and how it was doing very well up until the point there was an exploit. I think we may as well bypass everything that happened before that, because all of the changes now have pretty much stemmed from that exploit, and everything moving forward is with that in mind, right? So there isn't much point in looking back before that. Can you kind of explain a little bit about what the exploit was, how it might have come about, and the effect it kind of had on the protocol as it was then?
Yeah. Actually, I'm trying to look on Discord. Can I screen share?
Not on this particular channel, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Dang, I had a whole bunch of stuff to screen share. So, yeah, I could try to explain it. It's always better with a visual when it comes to elephant money because there are a lot of moving parts. But let me try.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So, all right. So, actually, I do think it is important to touch upon the past of this. So, what a lot of people don't realize about elephant money compared to any other token that comes your way for an AMA, and they're going to come here and they're going to promise you, oh, the tokenomics do this and the ecosystem does that, and we hope it does this, blah, blah, blah. Those, by and large, you know, as you know, 80-90% of everything that comes out in DeFi, even in a bull market, fails. You know, they're usually not managed well. They usually are low liquidity. Oh yeah, we gave you a 50x on your token, but someone sold $1 and then dropped it all the way down because the mismatch between market cap and liquidity. You know, you have a lot of factors, you know, that cause these projects to fail. Elephant money is different. You know, this is what I consider one of the juggernauts. It is one of the grandpas in DeFi. The thing has been out since May 4th of 2021. And here we are a year and a half later, and it's still kicking and survived a exploit. Now, the reason I say the past is important is because that deep liquidity that it's built in the last year and a half is also why it won't fail either. There's a reason that Elephant Money is the 10th largest BNB holder in all of BSC.
Right, and that's something to dial into. Yeah, I was just about to dial into that. That's the 10th largest holder of BNB, you just said, right? Yep,
absolutely. Right. And so it's been building liquidity all that time. And then, yeah, so it came out May of last year. And then in about October, November, that's when Trunk was introduced. That's when Trunk introduced the concept of the Elephant Treasury, aka Bertha. I'm going to call it that. And Bertha is an elephant token holder that is designed to not dump on you. And the bigger Bertha gets, I want you to imagine it is like the friendliest whale that you can have, you know, and it's sitting at the top of the chart. It's never dumping on you. It just, you know, gobbles up more tokens. And Bertha, the Elephant Treasury, is what the exploit attacked. The exploit had nothing to do with the elephant token itself. That contract is immutable. It is solid, can't be breached. The Elephant Treasury, Bertha, which was introduced with the Trunk token, had a vulnerability where you were able to it kind of had like a front door, basically. You can enter and exit your liquidity with Bertha directly, basically. It used to do a 75% BUSD to 25% ratio. And if you put in $1,000, $750 was BUSD, $250 went into the elephant token. Well, what the exploiters were able to do is they had a very well-written smart contract, and they did a flash loan of $261 million, and they executed it into their smart contract, which pushed a bunch of buttons, basically, where they injected it into the elephant token, bought a bunch of Trunk, redeemed the Trunk, and then they just repeated that like thousands of times in a matter of minutes. And that front door access is what basically took Bertha, the Elephant Treasury, who is designed not to dump on you, and made her dump on you. And that's what the exploit was. Yep. In a nutshell.
Okay. And the cause of that was for Trunk, which is a pegged token, to lose its peg quite significantly, right?
Yes. Yeah, essentially. It was that 75-25 split that occurred. And now the system looks different. Trunk could have held a peg at $1. However, you know, there was rampant panic in the community, right? It's like, oh shit, what's this exploit? Yada, yada, yada. And it's like, what do you do? And we haven't heard from BT in like, you know, a day or two. What's going on? And while he's investigating, people are panicking and they're selling. So a lot of people dumped their Trunk. And so it lost peg, not just because of the exploit, but because of community sentiment and fear. Yep.
Okay, sure. So cause and effect, really. I mean, one thing causes a little bit of the peg to get lost, and then the effect is people panic sell, right?
Yep.
So now that we are in the stages of BT starting to fix the problem, and has fixed the problem, what are his plans moving forward to ensure that it doesn't happen again, that particular point? I would assume now at this stage that hole has been plugged.
Yeah. More than just plugged. The whole thing's been rewritten. So I'll basically put it like this. So if Bertha had an unlocked front door access beforehand, where when you put money in, directly interacting with that treasury and then taking money out directly from that treasury, that front door has been completely obliterated. Now it is a bank with a locked vault, and that treasury, Bertha, is trapped in that vault. You know, that thing is protected by, 6 inches of steel all across, and then you got the whole building around it too. Now, what that means is all the money that is coming into Trunk, or whenever you buy Elephant token, and the taxes are going towards that Elephant treasury, all of that money is now handled by a checks and balance system. So for one, there are like the simple, let's wait 3 blocks when the money comes in, and then like the money comes through after the 3rd block kind of thing. So that breaks a flash loan right there. But then 2, and most importantly, is that everything's handled by these governance contracts. So essentially, if you think of the Elephant treasury as money in, money out, the money coming into the Elephant treasury is wide open. Whatever amount of BUSD comes in from Trunk, or or I guess mainly Trunk and BUSD that hits the BUSD treasury, that money's flowing wide open and buying Elephant token and stuffing it into Bertha. Now, on the other end of Bertha is a trickle feed. Okay, the money out is only coming out based on a certain set APR, and on a daily basis, a certain percentage, a small percentage, comes out of Bertha, goes and resides in these governance contracts, which are community pressed buttons. So there is no direct in and out access. Now there's multiple checks and balances, and only the community can hit those buttons. So if BT only wanted $1,000 to come out per day of the Elephant treasury, then it's only going to be $1,000 that you can interact with. You cannot flash loan that, because a community member has to hit, oh, look, $1,000 accrued right there. I wanted to go buy Trunk. Boom, they hit that button, and $1,000 goes and buys Trunk. Now, those percentages are adjustable. If BT wanted to, he could have $1 million come out of the Elephant treasury, on a daily basis, and then a community member has to hit that. So the governance protocol, and if I had a screenshot, I could show you, but that innovation alone, no other protocol is doing that, and it completely protects from any kind of flash loan or any kind of fear. And it's something that he created after the exploit alongside Peck Shield and some of the other auditors. So hopefully that makes sense.
It does make sense. So if I wanted to take out Trunk now, there's a queue, right? There's a queuing system for me to be able to do so, and there's a finite amount that I can take out as it stands.
Yes. And the redemption queue is paid by the Elephant treasury, which is a dollar value.
Okay. So talk to me about the juicy stuff. If I want to make money right now in Elephant, and I want to do it while being a positive player within the ecosystem, how am I going to do that?
Well, now the equation got a little bit more complicated, because you and I met, right? I think 2 or 3 weeks ago. And at that time, these new farms weren't a thing. Right. Now they are. So now there's a whole nother thing. It's a whole nother topic. But before I get into that, oh God, I guess it just depends on everyone's profit horizon. Hang on, sorry. If you hear stuff in the background, my wife's cooking. But
that's all right.
Yeah. So, okay. Right now, you can make a quick dollar on Trunk. I think there's a lot of hype happening because of the farms and the prospect of, earning money from the Stampede and the native staking, and the easy 3x at this point that Trunk can become when Trunk is back to $1. So a lot of people, when they come and look at the Elephant Money ecosystem, they're like, oh yeah, okay, I see Elephant token, it's performed better than 100% of all the crypto assets in the last 12 months. Okay, Elephant's cool. Okay, yeah. Oh, but Trunk, yeah, that thing looks like trash. Why is your Trunk only 20 cents, bro? Blah, blah, blah. So BT, that man gets fired up sometimes, and he decided to build these farms. And even right now, if you were to pull up the Trunk chart, you'll see, and it's right now sitting at like 33 cents. They went from 23 cents to 33 cents in a matter of 2 days. And I have an AMA out there explaining some of why, but people are getting ready for these farms. And so I guess a quick answer is there are some early gains that you can make with Trunk. Once it goes back to peg, that's a 3x from right now. But then separately, your elephant token, the sky's the limit. And actually, I see him in here, but Elephant Money Heard, he's got some fantastic videos that explain the math and the constant product formula of exactly how we're traveling up a parabolic curve. And the crazy thing is, when you look at the elephant chart, when you zoom all the way out, that parabolic run that you saw back in March, that was just proof to the point that the concept of everything works. And yeah, the exploit unwound Bertha to make her dump on you, but the mechanic is still there. Like, you have a crystal ball, you already saw it come to fruition, and it's only going to happen again inevitably. And when it does, when you understand, how you travel up that parabolic curve, your elephant purchase of today, if you put in $1,000 today, it's a matter of time, inevitably, before it 100x's. This isn't some shit coin that I'm going to come here and say, oh yeah, 100x gem, with the low liquidity trash that's out there. This is a juggernaut. This is the 10th largest holder of BNB, and it's going to climb the ranks. It's going to be the 5th largest holder in a matter of time. It's going to be the 3rd largest holder in a matter of time. It's inevitable. So it's an easy 100x, and a timeline I'm just going to guess would be like a year to a year and a half from now, 100x. You hold it longer than that, you're at the ground floor of like a Bitcoin, basically. This is Bitcoin on crack. This is on steroids. Like, this is a smart contract version of Bitcoin, elephant token by itself, and it has every potential to 300, 400, 500x itself in just a matter of a few 3 to 5 years, something like that. So elephant's a huge potential, and Trunk's also a great way to cash out of the system too.
So talk to me about these farms. I know nothing about them, so I'm going to be hearing it for the first time. So I'm intrigued to hear when they're going to open, what you're going to be able to farm, how it's going to work with this particular ecosystem.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, if you look at the Trunk price, it's performed as a fantastic stable coin. Like 20 cents. It's been 20 cents for quite some time, and that's been the floor. And what you need to, the reason why it's 20 cents is because of the imbalance that's on the pancake liquidity, right? You've got way too much Trunk in that liquidity pair than you do BUSD, and you need to reverse that and pull a lot of that Trunk out of the circulating supply. So the goal of the farm, there's some innovative stuff going on with this farm. This isn't just a regular LP farm, so I want everyone to listen. This is not your standard pancake. I'm going to take 2 tokens, mash it together, and be subject to impermanent loss. There is no impermanent loss on these farms. It is a lossless farm. But anyway, it's designed to take Trunk and pull it out of circulating supply. You're going to match it or dual stake it with a blue chip or a stable or whatever you want. And when you throw them into the farms, there'll be different multipliers. The maximum multiplier is a 10x multiplier, which gives you a 102% APR. Okay. And the lowest multiplier is a 1x, so that's a 10% APR. If you go with the stable, you'll get the 10x, you'll get the 100% or 102.5 APR, and you'll get that daily div out in Trunk. And then, a bad actor would sell that Trunk every day. A good actor would actually put that into Stampede, and Stampede would, when it's back at peg, will give you 205% APR off of that. So there's a lot of ways to recirculate the money in-house and keep it off of the circulating supply and hold the peg. In addition to the other stuff that I don't want to confuse everyone, but you've got the mechanics of the elephant treasury, and whenever that shoots up and 10-30x's from right now, it's got enough money to start paying for Trunk to stay at peg as well. There's a lot of mechanisms at play that will keep and hold Trunk at $1 and moon elephant token even further as that elephant treasury grows. But that's the farm. Yep.
Okay. And if I have Trunk or elephant money within the ecosystem already, if I'm staking, for example, am I going to be able to move all of my Trunk across? Am I going to be able to move any funds that are currently locked in or subject to long queues into something like the farm, or am I expected to bring fresh capital in?
So if you have liquid trunk or if you have it staked, you can move that, yes. If it's locked up in your Stampede or if it is stuck in the redemption queue, then no, you cannot move that trunk. So one quick thing to say about the redemption queue, it is congested. I would actually recommend not putting money into that because
Nice.
while Bertha is small, remember how I said the money going into Bertha is wide open, but the money coming out of Bertha is trickle fed. That trickle fed part also pays out the redemption queue. That's why the redemption queue is congested. It's not paying out fast enough. It will exponentially pay out faster and faster over time as Bertha inevitably grows and the elephant treasury, or I'm sorry, the elephant value also goes up. But the farms are going to help as far as helping people to pay out with pancake swap. So right now, if you bought your cheap pancake swap, 20-cent trunk, and trunk goes back to peg at $1, that's also on pancake swap where it's $1. So you can, 5x from 20 cents up to $1, and you can cash that out on pancake swap. You can completely avoid the redemption queue. You know what I mean? There's a lot of ways around it. So the farms are designed to be a lossless farm that's attractive to people that hold blue chips. It's a trustless farm also, where it's he's going to release the audit, but he has no backdoors. He has no way to move those funds. Only you and your private key can put in and remove funds from the farm too.
Okay, and do we have a launch date for these farms?
Not a date specifically, but I think it's going to be before Wednesday, if I had to guess.
All right. Shall I take it you know something I don't, and you're giving small hints?
Sure.
A little summon. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got some exciting things happening. Let's talk about sentiment, community sentiment. What is BT going to do to kind of try and start restoring some of that trust? You and I spoke already. I'm a sensitive soul, so sometimes when I hear BT speak, I might take it personally, and I can find him a difficult listen on occasion, because he gets fired up, because he's obviously very passionate about his project, which I understand, but often that can come across as a bit accusatory, and I feel accused as an investor. Is he working on that? Is that something that he's aware of? Is it something that he's going to try and manage moving forward? And what else is he going to kind of put in place to start building some of that trust back?
Gotcha. Good question. It's a little bit layered right there. First and foremost, I guess when it comes to BT, look, BT's BT. He is going to be what he is. I know that, he is super passionate, and he's tired of, all these DeFi projects that are rug pulling when he knows he's sitting on literally one of the greatest things in DeFi, period, bar none, point blank. And when he sees all these other things, I don't know if I should say any names, but other projects that come out and they get millions of dollars of TVL in like 1 week. And he's like, how the hell? And then a month later, that thing rugs. Yeah, it pisses him off. And, but
you can say names if you want to say names, by the way. So don't hold back.
I don't know who's listening in here, but I'll throw out something like Avarice. Okay. Avarice is a auction staking protocol that came out and just like hit the floor, hit the ground running with like $10 million on the first day. And then now they're just dried up. Like there ain't nothing going on over there. And, it's just crazy because that $10 million coming over into something like Trunk or Elephant would have instantly taken us, well through this recovery phase. We'd already be firing on all cylinders in the middle of a freaking bear market. And, So yeah, that stuff gets under his skin. Now, as far as, and he's not going to change. But what he does have is a volunteer army. What he does have is a huge, a great community with positive sentiment. And you've got YouTubers that are sprouting up by the day. that are coming out. You know, Jed himself just started a YouTube channel. He's going to be talking about elephant money. Elephant Money Herd. We used to have a guy, I don't know where he's at now, but into crypto. I think he got busy with life, but he used to make some killer videos too. And then, you know, of course, you've got some of the OGs like me and Crypto Slow have been doing it forever. But, you know, day by day, week after week, you know, you're touching new people's hearts and minds, and they're getting inspired. Because once you really wrap your mind around everything that the elephant ecosystem offers, once you have that aha moment, you can't focus on anything else. Like, it's literally a winner. It's a gem. And so, you know, this volunteer army of content creators and everything, it's only going to grow. And, you know, right now, like I said, you're in the community where, you know, you're in before all of these institutional hedge fund level funds come in, like venture capitalists and stuff. Like, none of them exist in Elephant Money right now, but they're coming. And they come because it's a bank, and the balance sheet's going to keep growing and growing. And so after the farms come out, you know, there's already $150 of assets under management at Elephant Money. But what happens when you get to $400 million and $500 million? Now you start getting on the radar of people, and hedge funds start to actually take you seriously. So yeah, you're literally at the ground floor of something amazing. So I think I forget your other question, but restoring trust. Trust is already restored. I mean, I don't know if you pay attention to that community, but like, there's, you know, the education is on point. You got folks like Mike Dre, Crypto Questions, that are answering people all the time. You know, my trust has never been shaken. And I think with the educated investor, as long as education, you know, goes where it needs to the people it needs to, there's no trust that's lost. It literally just keeps getting bigger and better. So, yeah.
So in-house, for sure, I noticed that the community has a far more positive sentiment to it, and it's a large community, especially on Telegram. I wonder, what is he going to start doing now to reach those outhouse that are kind of on the peripheral looking in? You're on their radar, but they're skeptical. I mean, we've had a few YouTubers in this very space kind of have a bit of a back and forth in terms of whether or not the tokenomics are genius. Passive income guy says yes, they are. Austin Clark questions why he would call them genius, for example. So you've got these people that are aware of this monster that's being built. Is he going to start marketing? Is there going to be a marketing push? Is it going to be something that he's considering throwing a bit of money at to really get the word out there, so that you know, if we're going to name a protocol, something like Seifu, for example, did marketing very well, got a massive amount of money come in very, very fast, and we all know what happened there. BT has the infrastructure to make sure that, of course, once the money's in, it kind of stays in. So will he be doing that kind of a push?
Yeah, and there's always something kind of going in the background too. So right now he's going for more mature marketing, not you know, you don't travel from lounge to lounge. Like, if you look at the Telegram space, there's like the same 20 lounges. You know, you got Caesar calls and all these other ones, and you know, you can just pay. Any shitcoin project can pay their way to get in front of an audience. A lot of these projects aren't vetted. They're not, you know, blah blah blah. Oh, cool, you got 3 BNB. Yeah, let's set a time next week. And you know, you fall into a space where you know, if Elephant Money paid for that, well, shit, that whole audience for the last, you know, entire week or two before that, every day they were getting, you know, shilled shit coins that are, you know, so you start getting into a boy that cried wolf situation. So when Elephant Money comes in and you prove that you're a juggernaut, I mean, you're just falling over glazed eyes and people that don't care. So that's one marketing aspect that I think he's not going to do, the Telegram circles. Now, what he is doing is he's talking to legitimate investor firms in the background. Like, you know, there's pitch decks that are going out. He's already got a PR firm that's connected to celebrities such as Snoop Dogg and stuff like that. And he's talking to, I think his name's Mark Voorhees, who has a investment group called Galaxy, something like that. But, you know, there's some big players in the background that invest in a lot of stuff quietly. And that's why BT's projects really have no issue getting TVL. So But in addition to that, yeah, I mean, you've got your volunteer army of content creators that create stuff for free. And then he does do paid ones for the larger folks like James Pelton and Drip Farm and some of these other ones. But he does get out to that. But here's what's cool. He doesn't need for there to be some mass influx of people, you know, like Seifu, like you said, that hit the ground running, but it crashed epically because nothing was organic. Elephant Money is the reverse. It is organic, and I think it starts to snowball with the word of mouth, with the each one teach one motto that he's been preaching. And you could also look no further that once that starts to get the ball rolling, you hit a tipping point, and the Elephant token starts to supply shock itself faster and faster and faster. Think back to the first supply shock run up, okay, back in March. At that time, there was only 6,000 elephant holders. All right, so yeah, listen to this: 6,000 elephant token holders, and in a matter of 30 to 45 days, that tripled to 18,000 holders. How? Okay. Was there any marketing going on at that time? No. He didn't do shit differently than what he's doing right now. But the token supply shocked itself. And when that happens, you start showing up on different algorithms and AIs and chart watchers and people who don't know anything about Telegram or watch YouTube at all. They just start paying attention, and word of mouth catches fire. That's how you go from 6,000 to 18,000 in 30 days. Right. And that's coming up again. It's just we've been in this recovery since the exploit, and you know, it's growing organically. And before you know it, the elephant token is going to be supply shocking. And anyone who comes to look at the ecosystem is also soon going to realize, oh, the trunk token, wow, that thing's back up to 75 cents. Holy crap. Like, okay, they're doing something right. Like, now you start to turn heads, and that positive sentiment starts becoming infectious, and yeah, everything grows.
And when are we hoping for this supply shock to hit? Is there a particular, I know you mentioned somebody who does a lot of good math on this. I don't think they're listening anymore. Otherwise I would have invited them up. But is there a date that you guys, or a period that you guys have in mind that people are thinking at this point we should hit a sudden shot?
No, I mean, there's no dates that are really thrown out. The only thing that I could tell you is you're at the ground floor of a juggernaut that is going to blow. It's a volcano, you know, and it's only a matter of time. I'm terrible at timelines and price predictions, but my heart of hearts feels, and don't quote me or shoot me, but I feel like we'll be back at all-time high, you know, where we were back in April before the exploit. I believe we will be back at all-time high around the end of the year. And that's just like a simple 4 or a 5x from right now. And then once you're back at all-time high, now the sense, or, you know, you have a stronger argument of saying, hey, this is a comeback story. What other project can you name that has, you know, taken a gut punch the way that we did, and then didn't launch a V2 token or do any of this other, whatever that all these other tokens do that don't ever resurrect themselves? Like, you're gonna have a comeback story of the ages. And once you hit all-time high, then it snowballs, man. And I think you're gonna crawl up that supply shock curve faster and faster and faster. So my 100x, you know, like I told you before, I'm thinking that's, you know, 1 year to a year and a half away. I might be completely wrong. It might be 6 months away. It just kind of depends on once you hit that stride, it goes crazy. Because remember, during the last supply shock run, man, that thing went from 40 million market cap up to 560 million market cap in 30 days, bro. What other protocol does that? Yeah, it's just insane, dude. So I'm bad at timeline predictions, but no, there's nothing internal floating around like, okay, yeah, you know, January 1st, we're going to hit this. And there's nothing like that. It's just a matter of, hey, each one teach one. Grow organically, get in before the big money comes in, because the big money will start paying attention to us very, very soon. You want to be in before them.
Sure. And I should probably let the listeners know that I have a fair amount of money staked in Trunk. So although it might appear on the surface that I'm trying to pick and tear away at holes in the argument of how good it is, it's only because I have an invested interest that I would ask kind of tough questions.
Yeah, I appreciate your line of questioning too, man. You're doing great.
Thank you very much. What about partnerships? Has he got anything? I mean, I'm sure if he does, you're not going to tell me, but you might kind of hint if you know something. Does he have partnerships within the space? One thing that, especially since we've created this space, we've noticed is protocols are starting to work together. It kind of used to be a dog-eat-dog world, and now I'm seeing a lot of people come forward and wanting to work together. Almost at times wanting to audit one another and wanting to make sure that protocols that are big and trusted don't fail. So is BT considering partnering with another protocol out there, making pairs, for example, like an MDB Plus or a Phoenix Plus, that kind of thing, to create those arbitrage opportunities and increase that volume?
I'm pretty sure I can confidently say no, he's not. And the reason is, so he's, I'll give you an example. So he's all for helping DeFi as a whole, right? If someone has a problem with their protocol, he himself will reach out in the background, talk to the dev, get it fixed. There's a token out there called Piston that launched back in April that, on their launch day, they were down for like 24 hours because they had a liquidity issue. And, that team announced, hey guys, we're gonna, delay this until tomorrow. We got to figure something out, blah, blah, blah. And BT literally reached out to them and, connected with Sam, their dev, and helped them. He's like, hey, I've seen this issue before. All you got to do is this, that. And then boom, Piston was able to launch the next day on time. And that was just BT reaching out. And, that community, the dev was very thankful. He publicly thanked Bank Teller and Elephant Money Protocol, yada, yada. Now, that's just him reaching across the aisle and helping out, because at the end of the day, DeFi, should be, you should support DeFi. The rising tide lifts all ships. Now, that's separate though, from partnerships. So, I know what you mean. Yeah, I've seen the growing trend of like all these different, like EMP partnering with MDB and stuff like that, or people using the Horde LMS system, and that's kind of like a pseudo partnership, as a service. BT doesn't think Elephant needs that at this point. TVL wise, Elephant dwarfs all of those projects that I even just mentioned, all of them. Right. The TVL alone. He doesn't need that. He just needs people to organically just kind of grow this. And hey, yeah, you can go be an MDB and do that stuff, but don't sleep on Trunk. Don't sleep on Elephant. Look at us over here. I think
I appreciate. If I can jump in, I appreciate that he might not need it, but would it not be a good look? From my point of view, it's whether you need something or not is sometimes less important than showing that you're willing to open up to those kind of partnerships. So if any problems did occur in the future, there's a protocol or someone just across the way that's going to step in and help you as well. Because I do recall one of the sticking points early on when BT was talking about the exploit, for example, is that he felt people might have known about it and didn't come to his aid. I'm not going to speculate on why that might be, but I just wonder if there is a strength to be shown by opening yourself up to partnerships and perhaps kind of working with other protocols. And what would your thoughts on that be?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I mean, there definitely is a perk for partnering. I'm not in BT's head. I don't know exactly if that'll always be the case, but as it stands right now, I know that I don't think he would partner with anyone. But, as far as like, people knowing about the exploit and not helping them, I mean, you got people that actively just hate BT. I mean, they just straight, like, right. There's a lot of tribalism out there anyway. But,
there is.
But, BT already showed that the Elephant Money ecosystem is going to supply shock. Like he already knows it. And I mean, I'll give you an example of back in the day. I used to help out this group called HNW, and they've completely gone belly up. But back last October, they were one of the ones to be like, yo, let's get Elephant Money on our partner list of endorsements and blah, blah, blah. And, BT was kind of like, because I've kind of taken the same philosophy in the sense that, 80-90% of the projects out there do just end up dying. And HNW is a prime example of that. Like, had Elephant Money partnered with H&W at that time, and they were just, you know, massively endorsing each other and each other's telegrams and blah, 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 blah. Well, you know, all the internal struggle that was happening at H&W, and look at that shit now, it's dead. Like, how did that look? And if anything, at that time, Elephant dwarfed H&W. So H&W's best interest was to get partnership with BT and Elephant Money, because they're leeching off of that community and that clout. You know, it's kind of like that situation. And it's a good thing he didn't partner with H&W, because that shit died. It died a terrible death. So, you know, maybe a partnership one day could happen, but it would have to be closely vetted and very, very, very selective in what he does. Like, you shouldn't just partner just to partner, because you don't run that other team. That's also why BT's kind of his own lone wolf, you know, the sentiment or his behavior is to be a lone wolf dev. He doesn't trust in teams. And, you know, prime example is, like, you can even look at what happened at the animal farm. Like, Forex, the dude's fantastic. He's a visionary and he understands coding and stuff, but he doesn't code, you know, his own projects. He has a team of people that codes. He sets the vision and he hires the people to develop it. And, you know, no shade at Animal Farm, but that shit's been locked up for 8 straight months, because he lost the original team, and then he had to hire new talent, and then they didn't work out. So here we are. It's been locked up for 8 months because, you know, Forex doesn't code it himself. So the point I'm trying to make is, you don't know what happens on the other side. Like, you can partner with these other teams, but you're not in their day-to-day HQ talks, and you don't have time for that anyway. So if they go belly up, well, then you just look bad. So it's almost better to be a lone wolf in a way. If that helps.
I can understand the argument for that. I appreciate that as a comeback and a pushback. From your point of view, what do you think is Elephant Money's strongest element, and what's its weakest?
So, strongest, without a doubt, is the Elephant Treasury, Bertha. So Bertha is what, you know, is supposed to not dump on you, but the exploit may to dump on you. Now that it's bulletproof, Bertha is growing by the day. It's just inevitable before that supply shock happens again. So the linchpin to everything, and that's what the exploiters knew, the linchpin to everything is Bertha. Like, that economic engine of supply shock is what makes the supply shock inevitable. So yeah, Bertha growing, that's the greatest strength, because you know, the other thing too is, like, when you think of Dogecoin and SHIB, and you know, you always got to worry, am I too late to this protocol, blah blah blah. And the answer is yes, because all the people that got in before you, or the whales that whaled up on day 1 and 2, they on a whim can dump that chart and cause a panic of epic proportions.
Sure.
Elephant doesn't have that. Okay, like with the graveyard mechanic that happens, and the way that Bertha is designed to be the largest whale, you can have your top holder, who has, like, I think 8.2 trillion tokens right now, and even that is like 0.8% of the entire supply. They could dump their entire bag and it wouldn't shake the chart. Bertha would eat that shit up and then supply shock the token up further. It's crazy. So unless you get a bank run, there is no way the Elephant token is going to fail. There's just no way. It's not like SHIB and Dogecoin. We're at the mercy of all these whales. There are no whales other than Bertha that matter in Elephant token. That's why I say that's the greatest strength. The greatest weakness, I got to think of that. I mean, I think honestly right now it would be Trunk, because, like, I onboard a lot of people. I mean, just forget about what I do on YouTube. Like, I made my YouTube because I was onboarding people one after the other, just on my own personal time. Like, hey, what are you doing at 7 p.m. on Thursday? All right, cool. Let's talk. And I would do that with my friends, my family, you know, my employees, my coworkers. And it just became too much. And, you know, that was kind of the genesis of, like, you know, I'm already a content creator on this other thing. Let me just make this brand new YouTube channel out of nowhere and start passing around my link. And I did that just to teach people about Elephant Money, and at the time Drip. And I was onboarding people with a link instead of me spending 2 to 3 hours at a time getting them in from fiat to DeFi. And then, YouTube took a life of its own anyway. But I onboard a lot of people, and even when I talk to new folks who aren't familiar with Elephant Money today, it's the greatest weakness is probably Trunk. Like, that's the one thing they take a look at, and they understand Elephant Money, like the token itself. They're like, oh yeah, Elephant token, that's just fire. The tokenomics, Bertha, everything you mentioned, that shit is fire. It's gonna do great. But what about Trunk? Why should I buy Trunk? And then I had to go into this whole thing about Trunk, and it just, Trunk has been a weakness since the exploit, but now I think that sentiment's really about to turn around, and you can see it on the chart already, and the farms are going to help do that. And Stampede's going to do it too. So yeah, greatest weakness, Trunk. Yep.
All right, give me some bullish news. Give me before I field some questions for some people, and I see the passive income guys in here, and if he's available to, I'm going to invite him up and put him on the spot, because he's done some deep dives into Elephant Money, and I very much value his opinion. So I'd love to hear him throw a question your way. But,
me too.
Before I do, give me something juicy. Anything.
Man.
Come on.
Give
me a little bit of juiciness.
I mean, honestly, I don't have anything like groundbreaking that I haven't already kind of said. I'll just put it like that. But when you piece it all together, I think what people are really going to love is that Elephant token, you can bank on that. That is going to supply shock. Okay. But what's really exciting right now is the prospect of Trunk. I don't think anyone's really taken a hard look at Trunk, but you've got your Stampede that is going to, like, I don't know how many of you are in Drip. Okay. And Drip is fantastic.
I'm
you get 1% a day. Yeah, you're in Drip, right? And your wallet has a max payout. And then you got to start a new wallet. Well, just understand that the way Stampede works is, it's not 1% a day you earn, but when it's firing on all cylinders, you're earning 0.56% a day on a stable coin, and there is no max payout. And I think what excites me the most and what's bullish is the debt that is owed by the Trunk, payouts whenever you do all that, that's all getting paid by Bertha. And the most bullish news is that Bertha is on the rise every single day. It keeps getting bigger and bigger, and eventually it's going to be paying the liabilities of Stampede. So see, but you got to realize that by the time Stampede or anything in Trunk is owing millions of dollars a day, by that time, Elephant token is going to be a market cap of, 5, 10, 15 billion dollars. It's going to have so much value in it that it's going to be like, oh, hey, my little brother. Hey, Trunk. Oh, I owe you like 2 million today. Okay. Here you go. Boom. It just pays it like it's pocket change. And I think when that starts to sink in with people, that's when it gets really bullish. And so that's why Trunk price is going up right now. Not only is it an easy 3x to go from 33 cents up to $1, but now your Stampede, your Drip, stablecoin Drip is paying at 205% a year. You compound that every day. That's 672% APY. It's just really exciting. And unofficially, there's some big celebrities. So I think that's part of the, back to your question about marketing. BT,
it's just you and I, by the way. No one else is listening.
It's just us. Yeah. No, but unofficially, he's talking to folks like Snoop Dogg and other celebrities that his PR firm has represented in the past. And look at Snoop Dogg, for example. I don't know if you go look up his latest collaboration with Eminem. I think the song is called From the D to the LBC. If you look at that music video, that is an NFT Bored Ape advertisement. Snoop Dogg is really into crypto, and Eminem, is rapping on that song as his Bored Ape version. So, you're starting to get, the crossover of crypto going into all these other avenues of celebrities and Nas. I think, invest in Coinbase and stuff like that. So look forward to some of the next wave of marketing not being your typical lounge group garbage and YouTube stuff, but like big boy celebrities repping Elephant Money.
Okay, that's interesting stuff. I've brought it up now. I am currently looking at the Bored Ape version of both Snoop and Eminem.
You see
So I'll be
that,
listening
right?
to that.
It's crazy.
I can see it, yeah. I like that. All right, I'm going to invite Passive up to ask a question, if that's okay. So if we can get him up, let me see if that's working. I have invited him. Let's see if he jumps up. You guys have spoken before, right?
Yeah. We've been in DMs recently, and he mentioned. I think some of my earliest videos are why he got into Elephant Money to begin with.
Right. Passive, down to you, dude.
Oh, I don't have my sound anymore now.
Can you hear us? Oh, it's another one with technical difficulties.
That's Discord for you.
It is. Well, okay, so while we're waiting for him, I got a question. If I have trunk and I want to move it into Elephant Money, for example, and I'm staking that trunk, what is the quickest and the easiest way for me to do that?
If you have trunk liquid right now, you can just throw it into native staking. It's got a small APR of like 24%, and you can compound it, and you can withdraw it. It's not locked. And honestly, and then if you ask this question again in like 5 days, you're going to have your farm options available. So I would just take whatever trunk you have. I would find the equivalent stable coin and park it into the farms, because remember, they're lossless. You know, we didn't even talk about that, but what's really cool is if you pair 1 Bitcoin with the equivalent dollar value of trunk right now into the farm, you know, and you hold it there for 5 years, whatever amount of time, you will pull out 1 Bitcoin. There is no ratio, rebalancing with the LP. So that's going to attract new faces too. I didn't even mention that, but like everyone's holding on to the bullshit assets in their wallets. Like you might have some cake you forgot about, and then you'd be like, oh, okay, cool. Let me just let me pair some cake with this trunk and then earn some APR, because that cake ain't doing nothing by itself anyway. And there's no impermanent loss. So you're going to start attracting a lot of people that are just really into the banking scene and holding blue chips and earning a yield, one of the highest yields in a bear market on blue chips. You're going to attract a whole new wave of people in these farms.
Okay, exciting stuff. I think have we got... Is he back or is he not back? I invited him to speak, but I think he jumped off by accident. There we go. Okay, can you hear us now?
Yep, can you hear us? Hello?
No.
Uh-oh. Oh, man.
He shut down his Discord. Does anybody else, while we're waiting for Passive, does anybody else have a question? If you do, just throw your hand in the air. Jed, jump up. I'm sure you have a question. He's not putting his hand in the air. This is typically where people go very shy, very fast. All right, can you hear us now, dude? No, I think he's probably having problems, technical issues. He can't hear us when I try and put him on stage.
Greg.
However, I've got Greg. Greg is, let's get Greg up. How you doing, Greg?
I am well. Okay. Am I unmuted?
Yeah, I hear you, brother.
All right, first time.
Actually, hey, I always see you in the thing, man. It's nice to put a voice to the name.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I look a little bit more like my Discord, my Telegram profile picture than this one, but hey, it's all good.
Fair enough.
Yeah, man. Actually, I have a question for USK, because you seem to, I don't know, you just seem to have a lot of insider, like not completely BT level insider insights, but when it comes to the buy swap liquidity, like I noticed, a lot of it kind of lost steam. About half of the liquidity has been removed just by community members. Do you suppose it is a good protocol supporting move for some herd members to consider getting back into it or doubling down on that buy swap liquidity just to kind of keep that possible, new market future partnership opportunity open? Is that something that's kind of still in the foreground, or is that totally not even a priority? Like just don't even worry about it. Just do the in-house farms. What's your thoughts on that, SK?
Okay, so I'll give you my thoughts on it, and
Sure.
it's going to be different from BT's. BT will tell you to stay in it, yada yada. You mentioned, is it still in the foreground? In my opinion, no. So
Okay.
There were some background talks with BT and them, and I think BT mentioned it in an audio file or something on Telegram the other day. But he mentioned that they don't want to list Elephant token until Trunk looks a little healthier.
Right.
So I think what that means is, I think the farms are the forefront right now. And I think that the buy swap partnership is still in the pipeline, but it is nowhere near as soon as it sounded a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I just wanted to gauge like how much. I mean, you might have seen me kind of bring up the buy swap stuff again in the chat. I don't want to like overdo that if that's just not the priority. I mean, like, honestly, I went from the 7th largest to the 2nd largest LP holder, and I'm in line to get $5,000, and I didn't even do anything. So I'm like, do I intentionally make people jealous so other people jump in and BuySwap still sees how valuable of a partner we could be? Like, I didn't want to overextend that. You know what I mean? So
no, I feel you. I mean, everyone's got to have their own personal, choice of what they're going to do. If you're in 2nd place, I mean, by all means, man, hold that shit, because the contest runs in a matter of timeline. And I think BT mentioned that the longer you are in 1st or 2nd place, matters as far as if you win that contest or not. So you might get $5,000. Yeah.
Right.
So,
and like, if nothing else, if I'm still DCAing into Elephant tokens just for the sake of pairing it with BUSD into BuySwap, I'm still adding something to the ecosystem, right? So it's like, I'm still doing something protocol positive, but I don't want to like overemphasize that if that's just not the focus. You know what I mean? So.
Right. Yeah. I think it's just taking a step back for right now. It's still in the cards. I think it's going to be very bullish whenever that BuySwap partnership does truly come to fruition and you get access to those 140,000 BSW users. It's going to be amazing when Elephant's on there. But I think right now farms is looking very lucrative and also very attractive for new people. And I also see Bank Teller just popped in here. Oh man!
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna mute myself.
Oh, the man himself. Can I invite him up to say a few words?
Hey BT, if you want to speak, you can. I know that man's hard working. He's coding right now, so he's probably just listening.
I'm sure he is. So let me just.
He raised his hand. There it is.
I was cheeky and raised his hand on his behalf, so we'll see if he jumps in. But otherwise, hey BT, how you doing?
I just stopped in to listen in.
Oh, okay. We're coming to the tail end of it, but I know the passive
Questions
income
about
guys.
the farms, you can ask them now.
Right. Okay. Now you're putting me on the spot. I like it. Can you kind of explain them in a nutshell?
I don't know how much SK explained, but basically you want to think of them as... Can you hear me fine, by the way?
Yeah, I can hear you perfect.
Okay, hold on one second. Let me see if I... For some reason... Maybe it's because it's not speaker or something. See if I can get my headphones. 1 second.
No problem.
I have a feeling he's going to say a lot of what I said, but, BT puts a little alpha spin on some stuff, so I'm hoping to get some juicy details, too. He hasn't really publicly spoken about the farms yet in an AMA capacity, so you might actually get some good information here.
Hold on, I'm just trying to...
BT, can you hear me okay? I don't know if you can hear me.
Can you guys hear me okay now?
Yeah, can hear you, no problem.
Yeah.
Awesome. SK, good to chat with you, man. First time.
Yeah, brother. Yes, sir. It's better to talk in voice than our long essays to each other, huh?
I know. I could tell you were really good at English essays by the length of your message, so good job.
Oh yeah, man. I'm a fantastic writer. Got an A+ in English.
Okay, while BT's kind of fixing his audio and getting his headphones passive, do you want to fire a question off?
Yeah, it's amazing to be able to talk to you, SK, and then see Bank Teller. Elephant.money was one of my first protocol on my YouTube channel. When I discovered this, I was like, this has to be broken down. It's so it's such a well thought out process and smart way to store value, where the protocol is preventing humans to make bad decisions and emotional decisions that would harm each other's. And I really like that aspect about the protocol. And so, yeah, I guess, you know, this protocol has lived for like a couple of months now. And, you know, we know that like volumes eventually is what helps drive us to a supply shock eventually and sooner. What are the things that like you think are going to drive a lot more volumes on a protocol for people to exchange the token and therefore have birth tag grow exponentially more at those days?
Yeah, if BT jumps in, that'll be good. But I'll go first. So honestly, I think you know, those investor firms, like the serious investors that I know BT's taking those pitch decks to, that's always constantly happening in the background. And I think, you know, you might just wake up one day and see a huge jump in price and be like, oh shit, what was that? And no one's going to know what it was, but it's probably BT and, you know, some millionaires that we talked to. So that's going on in the background. But at the same time, I think that, you know, as Trunk's jumping up in price right now, that bullish sentiment that the community is already feeling is just going to keep growing faster and faster. And then that it gets infectious, man, especially when you look at the entire market right now, and even stocks, even your blue chip cryptos, everything is just like meh. But you show them a nice consistent green candle with either an elephant token or a trunk token, and you know, you get people buzzing and talking about it more and more than they already are. I think it just becomes, you know, inevitable that people just kind of come out of nowhere with it. I mean, yep.
Yeah, I mean, so, you know, the way I see Elephant Money is because it's mostly protocol owned and keeps growing as a protocol owned, and like you said, you know, the biggest whale like can barely impact the price. You know, like, I mean, I like the predictability of this protocol too, because we know it's going to go up. Like it's designed by math, right? And so how can we like make this protocol be known to more people as a storage of value so that we attract those volumes? Because it's really a no-brainer when you look at the math behind it. How can we do like marketing or share it with other people so that they understand the true value of this protocol? Like how do we do more stuff around this?
BT, are you back? You want to take that?
Yeah, I think my audio is better now. How do I sound?
You sound great. Can you hear us?
Yeah, that's fine.
Before you answer that question, the most important question, Elephant Money aside, how are you personally as
I'm
bank
good.
teller?
I'm
Yeah,
good.
You doing good today?
Good. Yeah.
Excited for what's to come. I hope.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff.
It's like a
Okay.
it's like a stamina game, mental stamina. It's like a sort of super long chess game.
Right, and you're enjoying it so
yeah.
far.
Years in the making. So we've been
Great
doing this
stuff.
like over 5 years now. So on chain. So across multiple blockchains. So
The question is, are you going to be dressed up as elephant or trunk for Halloween?
I already dressed up as I have a cat costume that I use as my go-to every couple of years. Like a stuffed animal cat head. And I've done that with my kids. I have 2 girls, and took them to like a Halloween event yesterday at the elementary school, and
Nice.
I'm probably not. I was going to go out and celebrate Halloween, like adult Halloween, but I'm like, I don't really even feel like it. I just like I'd rather just wrap up some more stuff with the farms and have a good night's sleep and stuff. Go into Monday strong.
I'm excited to hear a little bit about these farms. I know Passive just had a question, and if I kind of just paraphrase or summarize, I think what he's asking is, how are we going to get word out to people? There are some, from what I'm understanding, going to be some unique ways in which this can be marketed. through some unique people. I've just been guided to a Eminem Snoop Dogg collab, for example, that has their Bored Ape versions rapping. So I'm going to be listening to that. Well, what are your plans in terms of that? Is there any kind of juicy information you can give us?
There's no gimmicks here. This will simply be the highest yield in the industry with the safest model for control of your assets. So basically what the farms are is they're a dual staking solution. At the time of staking, you have to apply an equal amount of whatever your blue chip asset is, whether it be Bitcoin, Ethereum, or BUSD. You apply an equal value amount of trunk at whatever the market price of trunk is as well. So if that's below peg, that means that you're going to get additional buying power locked into your position.
Right.
You can only withdraw. You can always add more to your position, equal amounts, or you can withdraw your whole position and then reinitialize it by adding equal amounts. So what that means is that while trunk is under peg, this whole mechanism is there to not only provide high yield, but take the circulating supply of trunk out of circulation and get it staked as TVL, so they can be added to our balance sheets, and also bring other high value digital assets to our balance sheets. Features of the farm: 100% trustless and lossless. So it's lossless in the fact that the token count in on both sides is the token count out. It will calculate your yield as simple yield on your trunk position times 2. So once again, even if you're, you can assume that trunk will just eventually just hit peg, but it's beneficial for you because if you get in below peg, you're making you can effectively multiply the rate of return times your trunk position, and you're going to make more in if you're going to make, like, say for example, if you bought trunk at 25 cents on the dollar, you would effectively get 4 times the yield when trunk's back at peg.
Right.
You lose advantage to that if you withdraw your assets, because the system's always going to force you to only add the dollar amount. So once it's at peg, there's no advantage. But the system's designed to reward people who accumulate trunk below peg. So that's how it's lossless.
Can I get a clarifying question to you, BT?
Yeah.
I had this when I had an AMA, and someone. So I know it's based off 2x the trunk value in the farm. Someone DM'd me and they were asking about it's like if they pair it with a Bitcoin and Bitcoin appreciates in value, is that Bitcoin appreciation in price, does it have any effect on the farm value that you're earning from too, or is it still just trunk 2x?
2x.
Okay, trunk 2x. And so Bitcoin depreciation or appreciation does not matter or affect your farm value.
Right. So
perfect,
the main thing is that it's in an environment where nothing's happening, you don't lose. In an environment where Bitcoin's going down in value, you don't lose, right? So in 2 out of the 3 scenarios, you're winning. And if Bitcoin is appreciating, you can always simply just add more to your position. The more you add to your position, the more the values come in line with each other. Assuming you add an infinite amount of assets to either side, to both sides of the position. The more you contribute, the more it right sizes it, regardless of whether it's like lopsided, because that lopsided portion becomes a lesser and lesser amount of your total position.
Gotcha.
So-
Gotcha. And so like your Bitcoin, you're not reappropriating it into anything, right? You're not like buying Elephant with it, and then when they pull their farm pair, you have to cash out Elephant and give them a Bitcoin back. It's just kind of frozen there for the TVL purposes, right?
It's frozen there so that's what makes it trustless. So not only is the deposit controlled by your private keys, but the lock position is controlled by private keys in terms of withdrawal, but also in terms of addition as well. So you know that the contract you approve against the vault. So only the vault can move your funds. And it's basically there to put funds in and take funds out. And then the rest of the machinery for the farm is built around the vaults. But the vault is as good as safe as just storing it in your wallet, because all it does is keeps track of your deposits for a particular asset. The vault, when a new asset is registered in the vault, it creates a treasury. The vault is the owner of that treasury, and the vault is the only smart contract or address added on the whitelist to interact with the treasury. And so what you can do is when you approve the vault, you know that its code is not going to ever change or underneath you. So you approve it once, and that's how funds get in and out and are managed across multiple assets. And then the vault just has a simple plugin interface for the price oracle. So when you input a certain amount of, say, Bitcoin, it'll use the price oracle to figure out how much trunk you need to have in your wallet as well. And as long as you have that trunk in your wallet as well, when you do a deposit, it'll just pull from both of those. So you just approve your Bitcoin, you approve your trunk, and the vault will be 100% verified, audited, public on chain. And that's that. So this allows the largest of whales to participate without fear of loss. All of the nonsense that you see with all these DeFi protocols pausing functionality, that seems to be very popular. Basically pausing people's funds, making decisions about what happens with people's funds. You know that your funds are always under your control 100%. And you're earning amazing yield that's higher than anywhere else in the industry. This is unprecedented. So there are no gimmicks involved. People talk about celebrities and things like that. Screw that. No. It is a privilege to be able to participate in a program like this early. People who are smart will move. Everyone else can buy late. Buy our bags. So we have an impressive chart, and you're going to see that pump happen. Basically, Trunk's going to go out of circulation. Once it goes out of circulation, and once we hit back to peg, then the only way to get Trunk with minimal slippage is through minting that Trunk. When you mint that Trunk, that directly feeds the Elephant treasury, or the BUSD treasury, which is used to buy back Elephant. And that's where our parabolic rise will continue again, just like it did before. We'll be right back on track. But I think that these farms are going to be instrumental. This is also an experiment that we've already run years ago. So we know that farms, especially when they have the proper security model, can command very high TVL. We can run delta neutral strategies when we support stable coins versus Trunk. So this is really a no-brainer. And we also have a unique environment at a very unique and special time where we don't have a lot of natural competitors as well, especially on Binance Smart Chain where we live. And because Binance Smart Chain is such a high TVL ecosystem, it has more volume than Ethereum. So it's just going to be bananas. We're already 10th largest holder of WBNB,
which is
things
massive,
are going to
right?
get interesting fast.
That's a large amount. I have a question for you, BT.
Yeah.
Is there anything in particular that prompted you to open these farms up? Was there any particular thinking? Was it something that you saw, or a piece of information that was fed through? Kind of, what made you think right now's the right time for this to kind of introduce this into Elephant Money?
We've done it already. We did it
Right.
on Tron. We had farms that worked almost the same exact way.
Okay.
I've improved things in terms of the trustlessness, but from a lossless perspective, it was an invention that I came up with years ago. It was highly successful. We use that to bootstrap.
Right, and that now feels like the right time for it to be introduced into Elephant Money.
Well, here, it was more organic. To be honest, I still felt like, we could have recovered by the community just going a little bit more viral. If you look at our demographics, like, we're a bunch of old men now. It's the law of attraction. Yeah. So, I get responsible older gentlemen with bags. Right?
Yeah.
You attract who you are. And so, I would love to get more a younger demographic, more viral, and all that stuff. But that's just going to come with a little bit more marketing dollars and a more well-developed strategy that kind of helps us break out of the demographics that we are. So, and you can't. You also have to accept the fact that when it comes to crypto on balance, we're just all older. We were in our 30s or in our 20s when crypto started, and now we're in our 40s and our 50s. This is the facts. Right. This is the facts of the demographic for the people who have been there the longest and know the most in the space.
I think that's a very good observation. Actually, is that people that have been in the longest are a little bit older and more mature, and therefore take a different outlook. In terms of other protocols out there, is there one that you particularly admire? And if there is, I'm curious to know why you admire it. You don't necessarily have to name a name if you don't want to, but I'm just curious to know if there's something out there that you look at, you take a bit of a peek at and think, I kind of like what these guys are doing, and I should watch it more closely.
I mean, I've always been a fan of like the Aves and MakerDAOs of the world, so, but even back to when they were ETHLend and things like that. And they've always kind of tap danced around being a community bank without saying they're a community bank. But, I know what I see, having my institutional background, I know what I see when I see it. And so, basically all of, those protocols are responsible for holding large balance sheets of funds and protecting them on chain. And so that's kind of how I've been running things without a lot of glitz or fanfare. I do try to, add certain mechanics that I think that could help the protocol in terms of adoption long term, like the raffle, like the lossless raffle, for example, things like that. But it's
okay. I mean, in your language, I hear a lot of the use of kind of safety. Do you see yourself kind of an Elephant Money in this space as being the one of the main protectors of people's monies, especially within DeFi? Because it feels to me like that's the way it's headed, and I'm just wondering if that's very much at the forefront of your mind.
Yeah, safety's always been at the forefront. We've never lost customer funds. We've had an attack on our treasury, but that was an attack on our treasury, right? That wasn't anyone's funds. Like, if you didn't sell, you didn't lose, and we're we're already on our way to recovery. So, as a matter of fact, it's been the biggest opportunity for believers to bolster their position. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those that didn't sell, so I've still got a large chunk staked, a large chunk of trunk staked. I didn't see the point in selling, and I thought there's no point in letting go of my bag. I'm going to wait and see how this plays out. And I got to be honest, I've dipped in and out of Elephant. I, as a community member, haven't always been engaged in what you're doing. However, very recently, I have been starting to focus a little more on Elephant Money again because of what I'm hearing. I find it very exciting. And then when you get somebody like SK, whose energy is infectious when he's talking about it and represents Elephant Money so well, it's hard not to want to then look a little deeper. So I'm quite excited. I wonder what you're most excited about with this particular venture. What do you, at some point, you're going to reach I mean, you're always going to want to learn, grow, change. At some point, I would hope you're going to get to a stage where you can sit back, give yourself a bit of a rest and say, this is the point that I was most looking forward to getting to. Are you able to tell me what that point is? Because I'd be really curious to know.
Well, the farms are, we've done this before, like I said before. If you even go to the retired section of Elephant Money itself, we had staking contracts for all the blue chips already. The original language for Elephant, mentions blue chips by name in the mission statement. So we're kind of just getting back to what we wanted it to be. It just, as it turned out, the staking contracts aren't the best final form for supporting other digital assets. But obviously, once we, it's all about share of wallet. And once we support the blue chips, we can command a large share of wallet, if not, over 80% for each of our participants. Because where else are you going to get that yield with the safety? And also, you have to remember that you kind of have to participate in the parade to protect the value of your funds, especially those of Elephant and Trunk, right? Elephant pretty much can stand by itself, but for Trunk in particular, we saw what happens if there's a run on the bank. All the developments of late are to prevent that and to protect against that. I mean, ultimately, once we're running at steady state for a while, like the engine's actually running and we're traveling down the road. Right now, we're still like trying to get gas into the vehicle. People are like grabbing snacks and packing their bags, and some people are late to get on the bus. All that stuff. But like once we're actually all in, and we're making stops along the way to pick people up, but we're actually all in. We're traveling on this journey together that kind of never ends. It's sort of like just a forever road trip. That's when you're going to start to see the vehicle get bigger and pick up new capabilities, but mainly this gas tank is going to start filling with reserves. So you can almost imagine like this big trailers and trailers of fuel behind the main vehicle that make sure that we can just go forever. And that's going to basically be in the form of a particular component in the architecture we don't talk about very much. But there's the redemption queue, and people know about that, but there's also the redemption pool. And the redemption pool actually is designed to grow, but it always just kind of tops off and pays like whoever's in line. And then we go back to, waiting for it to fill up again. But that thing's actually supposed to take on weight. And so what happens is after Bertha takes on weight and it's paying an APR that outpaces the consumption of redemptions in the queue. And why is that happening? You don't have to do a lot of redemptions in the queue. As a matter of fact, before the exploit, we didn't even need a single-sided liquidity pool. It was enough for us to just have this very healthy pancake pool where there's constant arbitrage and volume. And, if somebody, dumps into it, that's an opportunity for somebody else to buy up cheap and then just use it to stake into, Stampede or whatever. That's how it's supposed to work. So that pool is going to get really big. And so we have a hedge. Now we have a hedge. We have the value that's locked into Elephant, but we also have this massive pool just backing Trunk. So that is why Trunk is not an algorithmic stablecoin. It is a over-collateralized stablecoin, very similar to MakerDAO, very similar to DAI. And that's the whole point.
Yeah, I could talk to you guys for hours about this, to be honest with you. And I'm aware that I've had SK here for an hour and a half now. I am always cheeky, and I always ask for a little bit of juicy information that no one else has. So I'm going to be cheeky once more and ask you if there's anything that you can share with me that you haven't shared with anybody. And I can assure you, I'm kicking everyone else out of the room. It will just be you and I listening. Speaking.
Jokes. No, yeah, you don't have to kick anyone else out of the room, but just know that basically this thing is going to come out. I took my kids to dance class, and then I took a nap. Like I could have went in front of my laptop, but I actually just took a nap. And so this thing's going to come, like, in terms of like how fast it takes me to do these things. I am very, very efficient, and so as soon as I get my kids out of my hair, this thing's gonna drop in days. There's almost a little mini challenge to get it out before the animal farm, but I'm probably responsibly not going to do that. I'll let them have their 48 hours in the sun or something like that, but it definitely will be released this week because I get my weekends every other weekend. I'm free, and I'd like to enjoy my weekend. I'd like to actually travel somewhere sunny.
Yeah, of course.
And I can do all those things the sooner I get this out. I'm going to be doing my auditing with a tool called Mythex, which is developed by Consensus. So I'm excited to do that for this release. When it comes to auditing and review of the code and stuff like that,